Good morning, everyone, and welcome to day 2 of the Women's International Beer Summit. Today we have the non-alcohol beer revolution with Athletic Brewing. We've got Megan taking charge of this panel, and she's in here to introduce everyone and have a good session.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Cheyenne, and welcome to everyone who is joining us this morning from all across the world. It's so exciting to have you here. And for me, this is amazing. I can hardly believe that an entire year has gone by since I presented my own journey last year on being alcohol-free in the alcohol industry at the last summit. So what a joy to be back this year with some of the brightest and best minds in the non-alcoholic beer movement, with one of the most amazing organizations leading the charge in that today, Athletic Brewing Company. So welcome to everybody who's here at our summit. We're going to talk about the non-alcoholic beer revolution, which is so exciting. And we hope to hear some great questions from the audience today. So please be engaged. We're here to have a discussion, and that'll be the format that we lead you in today. But before we get started, I'll just, if you don't know me, I will introduce myself to you again, and then I would love to introduce these amazing panelists that we have today and kick off our talk. My name is Megan Anderson. I have been in the beer industry for about 16 years, spent the majority of my career at Boston Beer, and then quite a few years in the hops industry, actually, with companies such as Mill 95, Calsec, and NZ Hops Limited, helping grow the amazing hop Nectaron. I've since transitioned into the cannabis industry, where we're also watching really exciting things happen in the merger of non-alcoholic beer and cannabis. But one of the things I'm most excited to talk about before we jump in today to our talk is about the fact that 10% of the proceeds today are going to benefit the Bevolution Brave Voices Fund. And that's very important to me because I was so inspired by the summit last year that my co-founder of my consultancy, Hop Forward, and myself started a new program called Transcending Trauma. And I've put that link into the chat today. So if you would like to check it out, it's up there at the top, hopforwardconsulting.com/transcending trauma. Transcending Trauma is a program that is helping the survivors of the Me Too movement and the survivors of the post from Allen's Rap Magnet Instagram posts last year. What we're doing is we're offering an end to that suffering and silence through training in transcendental meditation, which is known to help reduce PTSD, anxiety, and other forms of stress, particularly in times like this when there's been very challenging moments in our industry. So with that being said, I hope that everybody enjoys this conference and it's fruitful for all of those partaking, and anyone participating in the Bevolution Brave Voices Fund has an opportunity to take advantage of that if need be. All right, so that's enough about me. Let's get started. Let's talk a little bit about Athletic Brewing Companies. I'd like to tell everyone a little bit about it. Athletic Brewing Company themselves, they like to say that they are reimagining beer for the modern adult. And indeed, if you've been following, you must agree that they have revolutionized the non-alcoholic brewing industry. They first opened their brewery in Stratford, Connecticut in 2017. And when this happened, it was really interesting because the industry really hadn't seen any innovation in about 3 decades. When Bill Shufelt realized that his existing beverage choices just didn't match his lifestyle. And I know I can certainly relate to that, 845 days alcohol-free today. So with a big idea in his hand, he went looking for a brewer. He spoke to over 200 brewers until he came across John Walker, who's an amazing gentleman as well, who was the co-founder of Athletic Brewing Company. When they first opened this brewery in 2018, they thought, well, it'd probably be about 5 years before they'd be able to expand. And you'll hear about that from the team today. But in that time frame, they went from the smallest brewery in the country to winning Brewbound's Craft Brewery of the Year award out of over 9,000 other breweries in 2021. I mean, that is just incredible. Athletic is now among the top 25 craft brewers in the United States and was just named number 2 fastest growing U.S. companies in the Northeast by Inc. magazine. The company is also recognized as a Time 100 most influential companies of the year and is about to open its 3rd brewery this summer. So non-alcoholic beer is the first significant segment that has expanded beer occasions and grown this category in over 10 years, largely due to the efforts of the team that you'll talk to today in this company, Athletic Brewing Company. The brand is opening up social occasions to over half of adults who consume 1 alcoholic drink or less per week. Athletic currently holds a 45% share in the craft and non-alcoholic beer category. It's just incredible. And about an 8% share of the overall U.S. non-alcoholic beer category. 5 of the top 10 biggest breweries in the country are the other half of that pie. It's incredible, amazing. Athletic brews are suitable for everyone and every occasion, so people don't have to compromise your social life and you can have a great beer and keep your edge. Also, I know this from selling hops in the industry and talking to the team that they use only high quality, all natural ingredients. They're proud of brewing a beer that stands shoulder to shoulder with any of the top alcoholic craft beers in quality and taste. And I can second that today. Their beers are also available online through e-commerce, on-premise, and through select retailers nationwide. Additionally, Athletic Brewing's Two for the Trails program, which you'll hear about today from the team, donates 2% of all of its sales to trail and park cleanups and maintenance, and has donated over $1 million to the outdoors. Plus, as a part of their impact program, 1% of their revenue goes to nonprofit organizations that support a positive impact and an opportunity from the ground up in their communities. And that's something I can drink a non-alcoholic beer to today. So cheers to everyone.
Cheers.
Now, I'm going to read a quick introduction to these amazing women on the call today, starting with Megan Gage. Megan, can you give everyone a wave? All right, thank you. Megan's originally from the great city of Chicago, Illinois. Go Cubs. Hope you like them too. She studied food science at California Polytechnic State University. She got her start in homebrewing beer, cider, and kombucha, along with wine, using fruit that she scavenged from neighbors' trees with her friends in a garage. During college, Megan interned at Firestone Walker Brewing Company and fell in love with the craft. She took a detour in wine to work harvest in 2019 in California in the wine harvest. For the last 2 years, she's been helping build up a San Diego location for Athletic Brewing. She got her start in the lab as a technician, and she has worked her way up to lab lead and now lab supervisor. She loves Lego flowers, farmers markets, who doesn't, pottery, and going for long walks and checking out all the breweries and coffee shops that San Diego has to offer. So welcome, Megan. We look forward to talking to you.
Thank you.
Kara, can you give us a wave? Kara Wilson. Kara is a New Jersey Beach native with a degree in environmental studies from the University of Hawaii. She's a former wildland firefighter for the U.S. Forest Service based in Oregon and fell in love with beer and got her first job in brewing in 2018. Kara is passionate about sustainability, which I learned from her right away when we first met, and social justice. She's currently transitioning from a brewing role with Athletic to the manager of their B Corp and Two for the Trails program. She lives mostly off-grid, which she was just telling us about, and in her free time, she likes to load up her camper van and see where the road will take her. So welcome, Kara. Super excited to have you. And finally, Rosalie, can you give everyone a wave? Yay, near and dear to my heart. Rosalie is a former colleague of mine, so it's so wonderful to see all the incredible things that you've done in this industry, Rosalie. And in an age when consumers are thinking about their health and wellness choices more than ever, Athletic Brewing Company catapulted onto the beer scene, changing the way that people think about beer, which captured Rosalie's heart. Marketing and brand strategy have always been a fundamental part of the shift in mindset. Rosalie joined Athletic Brewing in early 2020 and has built the marketing department there from the ground up. With a passion for consumer behavior, Rosalie spent her career developing some of the most explosive brands in the industry, such as Angry Orchard at Boston Beer Company and Dos Equis while at G2. Rosalie takes pride in making a difference in people's lives in the industry as a whole, whether it's helping to cultivate a strong, diverse, and energetic company culture, sharing the amazing adventures emerging from the team, or giving back to the community. So thank you, Rosalie. Wonderful to see you again and wonderful to have you here. All right. I've talked enough for today. It's time to hear from all of you. And Rosalie, I'd really like to start with some of the things we heard were that we'd really like to hear about market insights on non-alcoholic beer. So let's talk a little bit about that. For me personally, 845 days alcohol-free after working in the industry 16 years. Talk to me about who is the consumer for NA and zero proof lifestyle. I'd love to hear about that.
Awesome. Yeah, I mean, going back to the beginning, Athletic was created by beer lovers. So first and foremost, it's about the beer, brewing great tasting beer for people that enjoy it. So craft beer lovers is the number one, but also for people that are open to exploring positive choices, self-improvement, maybe they're performance oriented, but really it's about looking to or pursuing progress in their lives, whatever that may mean to them. So, it could be a young professional who is competitive on the weekends, has a busy week. It could be a parent who has lots of responsibilities and cannot afford a hangover. And it could just be someone who's health conscious, who, for whatever reason, is looking to reduce their alcohol intake. And we want to be that option for them. You know, I think prior to non-alcoholic beer, a lot of the options that you'd find at bars or restaurants are sugary drinks or water. There wasn't really a ton of variety. And so Bill and John, they were like, why can't there be great tasting drink choices for adults? And that's really how Athletic was born. And it's for other people who might relate to that sentiment and want non-alcoholic options that have complexity and craft to them. Yeah.
Amazing. That's so wonderful. Thank you for sharing, and thank everyone for welcoming my daughter. My childcare provider is out of town today, so she's joining us. She's also a strong woman. So tell me a little bit. I couldn't hear your full answer, so if you did answer these, feel free, and if not, you can expand upon that. But what occasions are these consumers looking for a substitute, or how often would you say that NA is being substituted for another drink option?
Yeah, well, I mean, like it was mentioned at the top of the call, over 50% of adults don't drink, or they have one or less a week. Also, alcohol, when you think about it, is really best fit for Friday and Saturday nights. So I think what's happening is Athletic Brewing and the non-alcoholic category in general is opening up those 5 days a week where people might not be interested in drinking alcohol, so they weren't purchasing beer in the first place. Also, you know, that additional 50% of consumers who weren't buying beer. So what we're seeing is we're driving credible growth in occasions for the beer category at large. And then to the other question, how often are we people substituting? I think that's a personal choice. It really depends on why you're choosing non-alcoholic beer in the first place. It could be, you know, a substitute in a session in one night. It could be for a weekend, a month, or, you know, for over 800 days, like yourself.
Yeah, that's right.
I think, you know, the frequency at which people are purchasing, you know, there is a variety there.
Wow, amazing. And you'd have to say that correlates directly to growth. You know, you start with a few people that start this trend, and it moves on. I'd love to hear, Megan, you add to that a little bit. So when it gets into how Athletic has just created these amazing profiles of flavors and beer styles, what have you learned about that? What are the flavor profiles and beer styles of non-alcoholic beer that the consumers find appealing?
Yeah, I think a big thing that we've learned is if you don't have an option, everybody is losing. You know, you're losing out on sales, losing out on consuming a fun beverage. So we really try to provide as many options as we can. I think in our Connecticut brewery alone last year, there was 78 different brands that were released, which is like kind of an absurd number. Right. That's not even taking into account our San Diego facility. So we really have a wide variety. I'd say our flagships are, of course, our heavy hitters. People love the IPA, Golden Ale. We have a hazy IPA, a stout, and a cerveza. Those are definitely the best selling, but we have every style under the moon. Like we range from sours to dark beers. No idea is too crazy for us to explore. And that's one of the best parts about being a part of this team, is that we take every idea seriously and we're going to investigate it to the fullest. And we have the opportunity to brew on a small scale before we scale anything up. So we're able to like really explore those ideas, test them out in our tap room in Connecticut, and get some real-time customer feedback. So yeah, pretty much any style that you can think of, we're going to give it a try.
Wow. Yeah, that's amazing. Is there any particular beer you'd like to highlight or talk about that is really meaningful to you and that you picked up from market insights?
Yeah, I think our recently launched Athletic Light has been one of our most impressive projects. It really took the entire team. Like, I don't think there was a single person that wasn't involved in this process. Wow. It was over a year of research and development. I think there was more than 15 pilot batches before we even decided to start scaling up. We really pushed our limits with what we could do. This beer is innovative in the way that it has, I think, 5 grams of carbs and fewer than 25 calories, which for an NA beer is pretty impressive while still having that full beer taste. And it really pushed our limits as far as what we can do as a team as well. We changed a lot of our brewing process to really get this beer as well as we could make it. And I'm just super impressed with it all around.
Wow. Yeah. What a technically difficult style to master as well. You know, we all have all of us in beer know these can be difficult to make, and to make them that good and at that high quality, it certainly speaks to innovation for sure. Well, thank you for sharing that. That's great. Kara, I want to turn it over to you for a few minutes. Let's talk inclusivity. Let's talk about how market insights and inclusivity come together. So now that non-alcoholic beer is actually an option for us at the bar, what about athletics values and programs have you learned is meaningful to the consumer and gets us, all of us, excited about your beers?
Yeah, thanks. So from day one, athletics values have always been to positively impact not just our customers' health, fitness, and happiness, but also like our communities and environment as well. So our Two for the Trails program, we donate 2% of all sales to cleanups for trail maintenance. And this year we're expanding to include like waterways, urban areas, because we really believe that outdoor space should be accessible for all. And it's a privilege to be able to go out onto a trail. And we realized that. So we wanted to expand that program to include more people. And I think people are really excited on that. You know, when you go on our website and you purchase beer, it tells you exactly how much is going towards the Two for the Trails program. And then behind the scenes, we also have our impact program where we donate 1% of sales for nonprofits in like the social justice realm. So that's a really great program as well. And I think it just gets people really excited knowing that they're enjoying a beverage that itself is inclusive. Like having a beverage available at a bar, like you said, that's not soda or Red Bull, just makes people feel welcome and happy. And so to tie that all together with improving our communities in, all over the world, we've expanded our Two for the Trails also to include our international market. It's just a really exciting development this year, and I'm sure it's going to continue exploding and developing for years to come.
Amazing. Thank you for those insights. And I totally agree. It's about raising the status of the beverages that all of us get to enjoy. And Athletic has certainly done that. Well, this is a really great opportunity to transition, because now we've kind of looked at trends, right? So what have we seen that's been informing everything Athletic has done thus far? So Megan, I want to come back to you for a minute. I want to talk for a few minutes, if we might, about market predictions for the non-alcoholic beer sector. I mean, when you have half of the category, certainly there, aside from innovation, you're looking ahead and you're talking to the consumer. So talk to us a little bit, if you can, about what's on the horizon at Athletic and in the R&D program in the lab specifically. What are you creating to sort of address those needs?
Yeah, I think you kind of nailed it right there. We're always going to keep innovating to address newer needs, whether that be dietary concerns or environmental impacts or just anything that we can think of. I know we're working on more gluten-reduced projects. We recently had a Safe Stream IPA come out to address salmon-safe beer. So we partnered with Crosby to get 100% hops that promote safe streams and protect the salmon. So that was something that was new. We've been trying to innovate in our sparkling water category as well, getting some new flavors out there, as well as with Athletic Light, kind of a even healthier option, even within the NA category. So fewer calories, fewer carbs, just always trying to push the boundaries of what we can put out there. But yeah, kind of like what I said before with our pilot program is no idea is going to be turned down. We're going to try to investigate everything to our fullest. So as soon as someone can think of a new idea or a new problem to address, we're going to work our hardest to get that product out there.
Wonderful. Thank you. That's great. And that's wonderful to hear too, that you're listening to your fans and creating beers for people to love. So Kara, I'd love to hear this from an impact perspective. So for you, talk to us about what is your sort of prediction for how you'll move these inclusivity platforms moving forward to be more inclusive.
So my new position as manager of Two for the Trails, I'm half of the corporate social responsibility team. So my counterpart, Mike, runs our JEDI program, which stands for Justice, Equity, Diversity, and Inclusion. So he really is developing our DEI impact initiatives a lot. So it's very exciting. We just started this team within the last couple of months, but already have started identifying partnerships who we're going to be donating 1% of funds. Last year, we donated $375,000 to different nonprofits. But so through the program, we have a bunch of different like limited time offering beers where we donate 100% of those sales to different foundations. Like Trailblazer was one we did for Women's History Month, where we donated to Pink Boots, Lifting Lucy, the Women's International Beer Summit, and Ladies Who Launch. And then we also have a couple others. Rainbow Wall is for Pride Month, where we donated the funds to Athlete Ally. Soul Sour was for Black History Month. We donated to Beer Culture. And then Ready Front is our Veterans Day beer. So within the 1%, we also have special beers that we donate 100% of those proceeds, which is really cool. We did Brave Noise last year. Awesome. We had an event on site where we had a bunch of, we had 9 women vendors come, and it was our first event on site in San Diego because we didn't have a tap room. So that was really exciting. So we're really happy to be able to positively impact our community and get people together in any space, because you can drink NA beer anywhere. We can have a party at the beach and drink NA beer and not, can't get in trouble. So it's really exciting.
That's amazing. I love seeing all the places I can get away with bringing in NA beer and shocking people. So I'm definitely on board with that. Well, that's amazing. I mean, hearing about being able to be directly involved as a consumer, knowing these causes are being supported is wonderful. Rosalie, here we go. I got to know from you, what happens to the category from here? You've been at the cutting edge of many categories since I've known you in our career. So I'd love to hear your perspective on that. Where does the category go from here? And how does Athletic Brewing Company compete in that?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, I'd say we're definitely still getting started. It's still very early stages for not only the company, but the category. There's so much runway for growth. So what we're focused on is expanding our state distribution. We're trying to get more retail outlets for Athletic. And then we also have our international markets. So currently we're distributed in Canada, the EU, UK, Australia. We want to continue to grow those businesses and look for more international markets to go to. And then also, our e-commerce platform, that's a unique distribution channel for beer. We can sell directly to consumers. And, the pilot program that Megan was talking about, and our values-based beers that Kara was explaining, all of these beers, we're going to continue to innovate and offer and try to support, health and happiness of communities at large, and offer that range of variety through our e-commerce platform. So there's a lot of product innovation that we're going to continue to invest in to make sure that we have a great selection online.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Well, I have no doubt that the future is very, very bright for the non-alcoholic beer segment, for Athletic Brewing, and for all of you and all of your colleagues, because this is just an amazing company that I think can inspire a lot of breweries today that are coming out of the wake of the last few years, and consumer trends have changed, and many people's priorities have changed. And it seems to me that Athletic is very well positioned to share in that. So that's amazing. So enough about business. I want to hear now about all of your experiences as women in this industry, and your time. Especially, I think a lot of us are all curious, like, what is it really like to work at Athletic Brewing? It just seems like a cool place to work, but it's coming from someone who worked at traditional breweries. I want to know what it's like there. So all 3 of you are representing women of Athletic Brewing. They're very different. You do 3 different roles. I'd like to know, like, how that is representative of the female makeup of your team. So I'm going to turn it back to you again, Rosalie. I'd love to hear your thoughts on this, and just kind of talking about those differentiators for you and what your experience has been like.
Yeah, I mean, for me personally, I really appreciated the number of women in leadership positions. I think that is not only important to keep creativity and like different perspectives included in a conversation, but it's also inspiring for anyone to join the company and see. And I think, like, for me, I've appreciated just being focused on a mission, and a shared mission at that. I think the culture really is genuine in wanting to make things better and focusing on the outdoors and cleaning up and improving lives for people if they want that. it's something that I can like really buy into, and it feels more like a connecting tissue for me and my coworkers. And so, like, instead of spending hours at a bar drinking and bonding that way, we go on hikes or we do cleanups for Earth Day this weekend. People are coming together and getting to know each other outside of the office, but doing so in a healthy way. And I think that for me, like coming from other breweries, like you mentioned, Megan, has been a big difference.
Wow, yeah, that's really amazing and interesting. I didn't ask you this in all of our questions, but I just have to ask it now. Is there any advice you would give to any women who are new in their career in this industry, given your different experiences?
Yeah, I mean, my go-to when people ask me this question is your opinion matters. And the big secret is nobody knows the right answer. There is no silver bullet. It's how can you rationalize your point of view, and how can you get other people to see that perspective? And having the confidence to share your opinions is really, really important, and something that I think women are less inclined to do, because I know for me, speaking personally, like I want to know exactly what it is. I want to understand it inside and out before I'm comfortable telling people about it. And something that through my career I've started to understand is you have to trust yourself, and, people want to hear your opinions. And like for me, like what's been great is the people that I'm surrounded by, like Bill and John and the CMO, Andrew Katz, like they all believe in me and they want to hear what I want to say. And I think sharing my opinions and getting that positive feedback has been really great for me in growing confidence and being a leader. So that would be my advice.
Wow.
Share your opinions.
Amazing.
Like, take that seat. Yeah.
That's great. Well, thank you. Very positive, very true words of wisdom there. That's something that we all discover for ourselves. But I know there's certainly many women out there that are new in their career and that will benefit from hearing those words from you. So thank you. Kara, I would love to hear from you now. Tell me about a little bit of your own personal story and background related to what's representative of the female makeup of your team and what the culture is like there.
Yeah, so I've worked in a couple industries that are male dominated, coming from when I worked for the Forest Service as a wildland firefighter, definitely not a lot of females in that job as well. And then moving to brewing, I was only on a team of 7, and there was another female actually, but obviously a male dominated industry. And then coming to Athletic really made me realize that this whole time I'd had imposter syndrome and I didn't really realize. And I think what brought me to that is that Athletic empowers us so much to really I was a brewer, but they encourage us to develop our resumes and our skill sets in all these different ways. Like we have a community outreach program. Megan is actually on that, where we identify partners on each coast to get teammates to be able to volunteer. We have 12 days a year built into our schedule where we can have a paid day to go volunteer instead of be on site. So 1 day per month, which is pretty great. We have a really awesome education program where we're reimbursed for education, and having a background in environmental studies and sustainability, I kind of just never really thought I would end up getting a job in that industry. And for me to go from brewing to this new role is really just kind of a dream come true. And Athletic is just so supportive in moving us between departments and really, really trusting us based on all the skills I had in the past. Like when I was offered the position with Athletic, I kind of felt like they were more impressed with my skills in other jobs than they were of my 2 years brewing experience, and I moved from New Jersey cross country to San Diego to take the job. And I kind of at the time was feeling like, wow, they really took a chance on me because I don't have a whole lot of experience, but they were impressed with my other skills. And it's just really great to work on a team of people who have all these different skills and all these different passions in other departments, and Athletic is so supportive of that. And it's just a really great company to work for. And also just for mental health reasons, like reducing my alcohol intake has been huge. And that's something I didn't even consider when I took the job, just drinking less, drinking NA beer during the week or between beers It's just a huge improvement on my health and my self-confidence. So it's been pretty nice.
Wow, that is amazing. And any person that would put themselves between a fire and their community, in my mind, is already a great individual and human. But thank you for expanding upon that. That was awesome. Now, following on the back of Rosalie, what advice would you give to a woman in the audience today who's new in her career?
I struggle with this question because the advice I give is probably not something I would have done in the beginning, which is speak up, ask a lot of questions, just kind of like be known. Obviously, be friendly. You don't have to be like aggressive, but I don't really speak up a whole lot. And through working with Athletic, I speak up a lot more because people value my answers and my opinions. And so, yeah, my advice is just to ask questions all the time. There's no question that's stupid. Like Rosalie said, there's also never one answer. So ask the same question to multiple people, because also asking questions helps find better answers, which I found. Like, I love training people because I love someone asking me questions that I'd never thought of. And then you can develop a whole new process of something that you never even, a better solution to get somewhere that you couldn't even do before. So just, yeah, asking questions. Your opinion is valued so much, and you asking questions helps everyone else also.
Amazing. Thank you so much, Kara. What a pleasure. Megan, we got to let you take it away now. Talk to us about your experiences at Athletic Brewing.
Sure. Yeah. I remember during my second interview, just meeting some of the team and being like, this is a very thoughtful team that they're putting together. And it just blew me away. And it was a big part of what pulled me to move down to San Diego and join this team, is that just after one conversation, I was like, these people know what they're doing. Like, they're not just going to talk the talk, they're walking the walk. And I think a big part of that is our hiring process. Like, you're traditionally not paid as much to be a brewer or work in production or work in craft beer in general.
Right.
So with Athletic, one, they're daring to push the boundaries and kind of set that industry standard for a fairer wage, better benefits. There's healthcare that's provided, which is already just rare in the industry. But it's also like losing that cool points, like to be a brewer, to work in production. Like, a lot of people just think like it's the cool job. You walk into the bar and people are excited to see you, go to the bottle shares, and you can bring the hype beers. We're only attracting brewers and production crew that don't care about that aspect of it. Like, they're willing to not be the cool kid at the bar, maybe skip out on some of those bottle shares or bring their NA options there. So it's people that just genuinely love the craft. Like, they're not in it to be at the hype brewery. They're in it to just make really good beer and innovate along the way. So I feel like our team in general is just so thoughtful. They're in it because they want to be there, and they're in it because they love brewing beer and marketing beer and selling beer. That's been a big part of it.
Wow, that is awesome. I know that I definitely think all of you are very cool, but it is because of your authenticity. It's because you have confidence and you aren't afraid to ask questions, which brought all of you here today. And it's really touching because it shows that companies like this are the future, and not only the future for the environment and for our culture, but it is the future for women that want to be successful. So thank you so much for all those thoughtful comments and remarks. And I know all of you put a lot of work into this talk today to share those stories. So I want to open it up to the audience now. I see there's a couple of questions. So let's see here. We got someone that's upvoted. I'm going to try to read these and we'll see how this goes here. Does anyone see a wide variety in your stores? I'm East Coast and yet don't see a lot of Athletic in stores besides the IPA, and I would love to try the other styles. I'm open to whoever wants to take this one. Rosalie, please.
Yeah. So we do distribute Run Wild IPA, Upside Down Golden, and Free Wave Hazy IPA. Those are our 3 flagships, and the newly added Athletic Light. So that one might be more difficult to find, but the other 3 are our main distributed items. We're still opening up new markets. So our ability to get to shelf is in the new stages. I would expect to see that to get better and better as time goes on, and you'll have more variety on shelf. That is something that is a goal and should be something you see more of. We also have our seasonal options. So we have our summer is Cerveza Athletica, which is a copper style. It's like a like a Mexican lager,
Mm.
All Out, which is a stout style, and then Wits Peak, a wit beer style. Those ones will rotate at shelf. Actually, I was just at Whole Foods the other day and I saw a case stack of Run Wild, Upside Down, Free Wave, and Wits Peak. I'm based in Boston, for whatever that's worth. So go check out your local Whole Foods. Maybe they'll have more variety.
Amazing. So great. And they're so authentic tasting. I actually did try the Mexican lager and it was so, I mean, again, that's what is just amazing me about your innovation process as a person with a lot of sensory training in beers, how realistic and that these are real brewed beers, right? That are delivering this flavor. There is a technical question that came up that I think is really, really cool because it does talk a little bit and speak to flavor impact. And that is for these types of brews, what are your thoughts on different forms of pasteurization? And perhaps Emily asked that question, and that what comes to mind for me is there's no alcohol in there, right? So it's not acting as a natural sort of preservative to the beverage. So raise your hand, whoever would like to take that question and speak to, they're specifically asking about flash versus tunnel, but would love to hear from that. Go ahead, Megan.
Yeah, this is a big part of what I do every day is making sure that we're hitting our critical control points. Because there's no alcohol, food safety is our biggest hurdle that we need to achieve to make sure that we're delivering a safe product and a consistent product. So I can't say that we use tunnel pasteurization. I would recommend that if anyone ever wanted to produce NA beer. Flash pasteurization, I don't think is enough yet to really ensure that it's a safe product. Of course, we are always innovating and researching, so this is something that I look into all the time because flash pasteurization would be a really great way to start maybe selling kegs or start doing growlers or other things if we had like a tap room on site. But as far as like packaging beer, sending it out, making sure it's going to have the longest shelf life that it can have, tunnel pasteurization is the way to go. Of course, that has its sensory impacts. You're heating beer to an extreme temperature to kill any microbe that could be living in there. So we do have different guidelines for different styles as well. It's like if it's a really hoppy beer, that heat might impact it a lot more than a pale ale or something that maybe is a little bit on the lighter side. But yeah, we are always monitoring tunnel pasteurization. That is the most critical safety feature.
There's another great question that just came up on the back of this. And Jamie asks it. It is certainly not a dumb question. It is an excellent question. She says that in here. Maybe it's a dumb question. It's not. It's really, really good. The question is, what is the difference between a hop water and a non-alcoholic beer? And I can totally see why somebody would wonder that and ask that question because of the hop forward nature of some of these styles that I really feel like Athletic has just done an incredible job with, considering the technical hurdles that you just addressed. Jamie says, I brew a lot of hop water, but maybe you have some suggestions on a different way to brew these types of products at home, again, that don't have alcohol in them. But that could also have these sort of, these microbial challenges. So I don't know, Megan, if you want to take that or you want to turn it over to a colleague, but I'd love to hear your thoughts on that.
Yeah, so our product is a fully fermented product. It contains all the traditional brewing ingredients, and it does produce a very, very small amount of alcohol. It's always less than 0.5%, but there is that fermentation carry through, like there's all the traditional ingredients. So as far as hop water, I feel like traditionally it's not fermented. I could be wrong, especially if you're doing it at home, it could be brewed a different way. But I would say that's what sets it apart is that we do have those biotransformations. Like we are going from raw ingredients, we are letting that ferment fully, and then we have beer at the end of the product. And then we have dabbled in hopped seltzers is what we make as well. And for those, it's like there isn't fermentation happening in that product. That is just sparkling water, all natural fruits, and all natural hop oils as well.
That's wonderful. Sina then asks a great question that kind of also connects to this as far as my draft knowledge, and that is, does Athletic serve their beers on tap in tap rooms? So this is a really interesting question on quality and ways to consume non-alcoholic beer. Who would like to take that question?
So yes, we have a tap room in Stratford, Connecticut. We do have beers on tap there. And I think, and Megan, Kara, you probably can speak to this better than I can, but the main consideration is keeping the beer cold. So for us to put beer on tap in the tap room, it's actually pretty easy because we have full control from when the product is ready to when it's being served. So yeah, we do. I don't know if you guys have anything else to add.
Yeah, to speak to innovation, that's a big part of my projects for this year, is making sure that we can get athletic and kegs distributed. For now, we're going to partner with some really trusted local sources that we can closely monitor. But hopefully in the future, we're going to see athletic served in bars on draft all the time.
Wow, I can't wait till I can start going to a stadium and ordering them. That's my fun. I want one when I'm at a Cubs game. That's my hope. So that's really interesting. Yes, fantastic.
Now you can get our cans in stadiums or in venues.
Yeah, well, there we go. Yeah, I love that. Well, it's a real testament to the innovation in the category and to the dedication of this team. We have a couple of minutes left before we close. Cheyenne, I know you're in the background helping us out. Did you have any questions, or were there any from the summit team that we wanted to put forth, or are we ready to wrap, or are there any more in the chat?
I think you guys can close out whenever you're ready to finish. I think we're good. Thank you.
You're so welcome. Any final remarks from any of you on the panel today?
No. Thank you so much for having us. This has been really fun.
Yeah.
Megan, it's been great to see you and spend time with you. And yeah, thanks to everyone in the audience too.
Amazing. Well, I've also enjoyed it, again, as a big fan of an admirer of the brand and the organization. Melissa is saying thank you so much in the chat as well. Thank you, Melissa, for continuing to put on this amazing event for women to gather in this industry and share our stories. So with that, it was indeed an honor, and the pleasure was all mine to speak with this group. And I hope we get to do this again next year, because I want to revisit these trends and market forecasts to see where this team has grown to in another year, because I know it's going to continue to be very exciting and a great category to watch. So for those of you that haven't, go buy some Athletic Brewing beer online right now, because now we know we can, or run to your local store and ask them to carry it, and bring it to your next party and share it with your family and friends. And in closing, if you haven't, check out hopforwardconsulting.com. Look for our Transcending Trauma program, where the proceeds from this event today can help survivors of the Me Too and Rap Magnet movement through the Bevolution Fund learn transcendental meditation. And we're so grateful to everyone that attended and the proceeds that are going to go toward that. So again, thank you so much, everyone. Wonderful to see you. Have a great weekend, and talk to you soon. Cheers.
Bye. Thanks.
Bye.